agricultural industry remains seized with challenges surrounding climate change, limited access to markets, food and nutrition, animal health, crop protection, crop nutrition. But you would find that the government of Zimbabwe remains dedicated to educating the Zimbabwean population in line with agriculture. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning into yet another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. I am coming to you today from Shamva, and my name is Wodzanai Manyore. Today we are going to be celebrating education, aligning it to farm mechanization, livestock, crop production, and we are going to be talking to various stakeholders that participate in the agricultural industry of Zimbabwe in support of Vision 2030. Stay tuned. At this point in time, I've taken the liberty of inviting the principal of Shamva Agricultural College, Mr. John Mushandu. He is going to be taking us through what Shamva College is all about as we celebrate agricultural education in Zimbabwe in line with Vision 2030 of becoming an upper middle class economy. Principal, thank you so much for taking your time and coming onto our platform.
Thank you.
Yes. As we get into this discussion, I would want you to enlighten our audience there at home in terms of the agroecological zone that Shamva Agri College is in and some of the activities that are expected to be happening agriculturally in Shamva and those that you maybe educate your students with, given that you are in a farming area behind us. We have a dam full of water.
Thank you, Hazanai. Shamva Agricultural College is at the border of Region 2B, which means this college receives reasonable rainfall, which could be around 800 millimeters per year.
Okay.
But also it's getting towards the hotter side of the climate. It's hot. So the agricultural activities that we do here are mixed farming, which means we can do livestock and crop production intensively. We can also look at crops like maize, wheat, sorghum, soybeans, those high value crops, and this is why this area is called the breadbasket of Zimbabwe. So these are the crops that we can grow, those commercial crops that can be grown here. We can grow them quite very well. In addition, because of the climate, which is hot, the crops grow very fast, and the rainfall that we get here never falls us. We have rainfall from the ITC zone, from the Zambian side, and also with Mozambique. So most people here never experience a drought all year through.
Which is very conducive and perfect.
This is why our students got something from their Fumbuza.
Okay.
Despite the drought that was severe, they got something.
Speaking of Fumbuza, I want us to align the modules or the courses that you have in place that speak to issues surrounding climate change.
Yes.
We are now in an era whereby our students need to be versatile and well knowledgeable when it comes to the threatening issues of climate change.
Yes.
You highlighted Fumbuza as one of the things, one of the practical lessons that you are giving to your students.
Yes.
Let's dive deeper into that.
Going to Fumbuza, I just want to explain to our audience what we call Fumbuza is a conservation farming.
Yes.
What we mean by that is that we are farming, but farming for the future without destroying the environment. So the Fumbuza is based on that concept that we have been destroying the environment. We have been using heavy technology like big tractors which ram the soil, and the soil becomes so hard like a tarred road underground, and the rain doesn't percolate down. So the Fumbuza says, don't do that, compact the soil, but just open holes.
Yes.
And these holes will receive a lot of rain, capture it, then that moisture will trickle down and then to form what we call a capillary into the soil. So when you put a crop there, it has a lot of moisture and the roots will grow and grow deeper down.
Yes.
That's the concept. And this is why they are saying go for Fumbuza Itwasa, because it conserves moisture. It also doesn't destroy the soil. It also, unlike other chemicals where you use like glycophosphate vanokonzeresa cancer.
Yeah.
So this is quite natural.
Now, Principal, as we round off this segment, I want you to talk about maybe how you are equipping your students. How have they been equipped by being innovative, entrepreneurial skills, self-starters? What has it been like here at Shamva College?
Here at Shamva, we teach the students not only the theory part of the academic, but the practice with the practical. Our students should know the following disciplines. Animal production. They should know how to keep livestock like beef cattle, dairy cattle, piggery, but real practical, where you look after the animal on a day-to-day basis. During the rainy season, what are the challenges and how do we overcome these challenges? During the dry season, the challenges are mainly nutritional. How do you overcome this? So this is the essence of our training. They also trained about animal health issues, the vaccines that should be given to animals. So these students do it practical. So when they leave, they can do the things by themselves. But we also teach them also to be sensitive to the costs. So life is not about getting things for free. We buy an animal for so many dollars, grow it up, value it up to so much. Then see that is it worth a business. So they do projects, they buy some pigs, they grow them, they go and sell, and they do cash flows and all those things.
Farm records.
They also raise their own broilers and layers. They sell and they feed how the market is like. Prices can be down, can be up, but how do I survive? Quality is now the issue that they have to look at. So this is the difference now.
Thank you so much, Seth, for taking your time and come onto our platform to speak of issues surrounding agricultural education. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Azanai.
On that note, viewers, have come to the end of the first segment. We're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment. Stay tuned. Thank you, farmers and aspiring farmers, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030. Today we are coming to you from Shamva at Shamva Agricultural College, where we are celebrating education. Now, viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with the producer, Wadzanai Manyore, so on 0772-807-506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. Make a follow-up on this episode and more, and leave your comments and suggestions. They are most welcome to us. Our YouTube channel is Agribusiness with Wadzanai. We're also now available on X, formerly known as Twitter. It's at Agribusiness 110. We have a very thriving community on LinkedIn. It's at Wadzanai Manyore. At this point in time, I've taken the liberty of inviting Dr. Jotam Dondofema. He is the director in the Department of Agriculture Education under the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development right here in Zimbabwe. Dr. Dondofema, we meet again. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Aza, for having me again.
As we get into this discussion, Dr. Dondofema, Shamva Agricultural College has a unique setup where we are speaking of farm mechanization, we are speaking of farm equipment. Can you maybe take us through the partnerships that you have managed to salvage throughout the journey so that the students that are coming from Shamva have a unique advantage, have a trademark when it comes to their activities and the knowledge that they've acquired?
Thank you very much, Wadza. The element of the development sustainable goals encourages the issue of partnerships. And here at Shamva Agricultural College, we had a very big privilege where we have the partner. They are our host here, as you once said, that we are going to build our college in Panmure Farm down there. So currently we are hosted at this farm, as well as Children's Village in Zimbabwe. And to that respect, they have got a state-of-the-art agricultural engineering workshop. We have talked to them and they welcomed our suggestion to train our students an extra mile in the farm mechanization or engineering aspects. So our students are allowed to enter and use all facilities and state-of-the-art machinery in that workshop, to the extent that our students from Shamva Agri College, they have made some products in that engineering workshop. They are also taken in some sessions where the workers in that field and our staff members, they are repairing some machinery from our local farmers, where they are machining some parts for different machinery, and also they have scheduled in their timetable a time allocated for them to go into the workshop and gain various skills. So we are saying what, amongst our colleges, here at Shamva Agri College, our students had that unique component of accessing state-of-the-art workshop where they can service the needy farmers in the local environment. And we are also trying to emphasize that transfer of skills from the workers in the workshop and also out there. We are also having some partners. Waza is now with us at Shamva Agri College, and as we have heard, in the process of graduation, they are taking our students into real life practices where they have machinery, they have got infrastructure for irrigation, farm mechanization, and so on. So with these partnerships coming on board, we are facilitating transfer of knowledge and skills, and we are encouraging our staff members and students within our colleges to quickly grasp this concept, practice them at college, and try to replicate these in various setups or communities.
Now, Dr. Ndofema, you spoke of students from here having an added advantage in terms of farm mechanization. Speaking of those students, what are your expectations? They've been educated in line with government policies, government expectations. What do you expect from a recently graduating student who's now getting into the community, who's now going to the industry? What do you expect of that student in terms of performance, behavior, imparting his skills and knowledge? What are we looking at?
Thank you so much, Waza. As we train our students now using the Agricultural Education for Development 5.0 curriculum, where we are taking on board the philosophy of heritage-based education, we are equipping these students in various facets. That curriculum is anchored on 5 pillars.
Yes.
And that 5 pillars, at the end, it has industrialization and entrepreneurship. So we are saying these, they have got that niche area in terms of mechanization and workshop skills. They are going to work in various communities, imparting also these skills to other farmers out there, to smallholder farmers, so that we also take agriculture as a business. So we expect them to go and perform. The certificate, the process of getting a certificate is done.
Yes.
The certificate is going to be in the frame now. The graduation gown is going to be in a suitcase in the wardrobe. So we are now looking at the second phase, where these students are expected to go and perform. We want to measure the level of transformation in the rural setup, transformation in the farming, agricultural value chains. We want to feel the presence and relevance of our new curriculum and the students we are churning from our training institutions. Yes. We also expect Waza to keep in touch with these students. We want to keep improving our system of training. They are going to mix with different experiences, so we want them to feedback. So we encourage our students to link with us. We want to have contact details and know what they are actually doing. We want to measure our performance through the performance of these students. So we expect to get the footprints of these students. We want to remain, yes, we want to remain part of each other.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ndofema, for taking your time to come onto our platform and educate our audience. I know that there are parents who are actually saying, I would want to send my child to an agricultural college, and experiences and setups like these ones encourage our Zimbabwean community. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much, Waza. Good day.
Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. At this point in time, I have taken the liberty of inviting those we are celebrating in line with agricultural education. I have Victoria Makura. She is a recent graduate who undertook agricultural studies, headed for the industry and participating in our agricultural sector, given that we are agro-based economy. Victoria, thank you for taking your time and coming onto our platform.
Thank you so much for the line.
As we get into our discussion, Victoria, what are your plans after today? Are you looking to further your studies? How do you anticipate to contribute to the agribusiness or the agricultural economy of Zimbabwe, given that in Zimbabwe we are an agro-based economy? What are your plans and how do you intend to contribute to the Zimbabwean economy, agricultural-wise?
Okay, firstly I can say, by me coming to agriculture, to study agriculture, it has been my passion. I have so much passion in agriculture. So I don't wish to work under someone for so long. So I wish to be an entrepreneur, to start my own projects, and I will further my studies, going to university and study my degree until I have even a PhD.
Wow.
So I wish to study animal science because there is where my passion is. But for a start, I can start by working under someone, getting a job on a company so that I can get my capital and pursue more in this agricultural department. I wish to be a very good agriculturalist and I have passion in it, so I guess I'll be the best agriculturalist in Zimbabwe, contributing to the rise in our economy and creating jobs for others. I think that is what I can say for now.
Thank you so much, Victoria. You look like a very brilliant, bright girl with a bright future. Just as we close, Victoria, maybe your desires, your wishes, there's someone who might be watching. Industry, it will be good for me. I'm going to be learning. I'm going to make a living off of that. What are your desires, your wishes as a young girl, of course?
Okay, as I said earlier, I wish to study more on animal science. So I wish to be employed by companies where I can learn more about animals and get more experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Victoria. They do say wishes do come true. And I like the fact that you did put it out there. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud of myself.
On that note, viewers, Victoria is proud of herself. We've come to the end of the second segment. We're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the third and final segment. Stay tuned. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. At this point in time, we want to look at SDG surrounding 17, where they speak of public-private partnerships in line with Vision 2030 of becoming an upper middle-class economy. At this point in time, I've taken the liberty of inviting Mr. Dennis Zimba. He is with Australia-Zimbabwe Business Council, and he is working with Shamva Agricultural College in enhancing agriculture education. Say, I would like to welcome you to our platform. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Maybe a brief background of your organization, of the council, that synergy, where you are saying that it's Australian based with also Zimbabwean, infused with a bit of Zimbabwean. Yeah. What is it like?
So at the moment, there's more than 40,000 Zimbabweans in Australia. Most of them have been there for so long. So we call them Zimbabwean diasporans in Australia.
Okay.
So Australia-Zimbabwe Business Council was actually created by Zimbabwean diasporans in Australia. What it does is it facilitates trades between Zimbabwe and Australia. And then it also assists Zimbabweans to open up businesses in Australia, and then also as a go-to in actually trying to facilitate business between Australia and Zimbabwe, both ways. Yeah, that's correct.
Let us talk about the public-private partnerships, aligning it to your partnership with Shamva Agricultural College. What is it like?
At the moment, it's actually been working well. We've had the support from both the ministry, and then it's actually been a very collaborative environment working with the college, and then also seeing the technical know-how that the children also gained from the agreement that we actually got in place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there are people who are watching who might want to really know, where is he coming from? What are your objectives? And look into the future, 5 years from now. What do you seek to achieve?
So initially what we did have a charity, which is Friends of Kawungwe, where we sponsor children in Mzalabani, about six children on scholarships, and then more than 100 kids where we actually provide, we pay fees for. But then how we were raising money through trivia nights in Canberra, and then also donations from other parties. And then I met this guy who is like one of the top researchers in agriculture in Australia. And then he says, Dennis, that was saying that, instead of giving men a fish, teach them how to fish. And then it also came across to actually say, some of these kids, obviously not every child goes to Form 4. Right? Or to upper 6, because sometimes we've got parents actually saying, it's like the opportunity cost of the kid actually working in the field and going to school. It's better for kids to actually work in the field. So through those ones, then also realize that some of the kids have got nowhere to go, but then they actually don't have the foundations. They're actually really good at agriculture, technical. They've actually gone on producing the feeds, right? And then the other issue that we also did realize was, for most Zimbabweans diaspora, we tend to also invest into farming. But then there are only a few that are actually succeeding.
Yeah.
One of the issues also these days, we've got people who say, I've got a PDF on horticulture, I'm a consultant. And then you employ these people. I've got connections. And then what happens is when they tell you everything looks good on paper, and then when you come on the ground, there's actually nothing there. Right? So that's where the other opportunity then come with Shamva Agricultural College to actually say, let's actually come something with that actually innovative, that also teaches the community resilience, right? Drought sustainability, but then at the same time, you're also producing graduates that have actually the capability and technical know-how that the diaspora will be able to pick from, because they've actually been trained, and then we can also vouch for them for background using the college, and then also if they've actually worked for Autism.
Let us talk briefly in terms of your word of advice, your recommendations to those who are watching who might have the financial muscle to invest in agriculture education.
That's right. One of the key thing about agriculture is everyone always wants to eat, right? No matter what, people always eat. But then the thing about agriculture is one of the low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
We've got abundant land in Zimbabwe. The climate on its own is actually conducive for agriculture. If you actually plan your things well, don't go by what people tell you. Come on the ground and actually see. Learn from people actually doing it. Spend time with people. It's like every business. And then one of the key things, these things are long term. You don't just make money tomorrow, or you become it's like I put in a couple of $1,000s, then it doubles up overnight.
Yeah.
You actually start small, because agriculture is very capital intensive.
Very true.
So start small and then use those profits to actually keep on expanding. That way you're also learning as you're expanding. Because what sometimes happens, you expand too quick, and then you hit a roadblock because you haven't actually have the experience. That's why people always talk about the 10,000 hours before you become a professional.
Thank you so much for
Pleasure.
that, Mr. Dennis. It was a pleasure having us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
At this point in time, I'm joined by Blessing Mufambira. We are celebrating agricultural education today. He is one of the recent agricultural graduates headed into the society, into the industry. And we're just going to have a brief discussion of his intentions with his newly acquired qualification. Blessing, thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, thank you, Sister Wazanai.
Now, Blessing, I want us to look at maybe randomly or out of passion, what could be that project that you seek to undertake, that you'd say this is close to my heart?
Okay, actually, I'm that kind of person who have got animals at heart.
Yes.
So, actually, I would like to implement usually small livestock projects.
Yes.
Starting from like piggery, poultry, usually those kind of poultry, those
broilers.
We can say broilers, roadrunners, turkeys, ducks, and even pigeons.
Yes.
So by starting up those projects, it's not like ending just producing meat to the economy, no, like meat to the community and general meat to the villagers and stuff, but up to value adding them.
Yeah.
Like slaughtering those piggeries, creating those ventures of manufacturing sausages, manufacturing polons, manufacturing cold cheese and stuff. That's usually, in animal production, those value-added items are much profitable than just general meat.
Yeah. What are you looking at and looking to the future?
Okay. Thank you, Sister Wazanai. furthering much with my studies. It's not just like having papers to store inside the homes. It's like having or acquiring another much knowledge to do the projects that can contribute something to the economy. You know, an economy cannot be built by just papers,
Yes,
just
just
hanging.
degrees and PhDs.
No.
Yeah, that's not
So
enough.
my desires are to start up a project. By starting up that project, it can contribute something. Then after taking a closer look on the projects, you can even observe much further that I know I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. But what I require then, I require knowledge about this. So I have to go further just to study those things so I can extend and
become an expert.
Yes, becoming an expert in those projects.
Thank you so much, Blessing. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Okay, thank you, Sister Wazanai.
The agricultural value chain is a very interesting one, and it is of paramount essence that our population remains up to date with the activities in the agricultural industry. We have research, production, processing, marketing, consumption, and even education. For all of these things to take place, you have to understand education and the various stages and participation of various stakeholders, including the general Zimbabwean citizens ahead of Vision 2030. It was a pleasure having you with us today. From me, your host, Zanai Manyura, I'm also on Instagram, is at Wadzi110, and the crew behind the scenes. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.